Hello, welcome to Open Everyone. I'm Rhina Valentin, your hosty Café con Leche for the next hour. Always inviting you to get social with us. That's right. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, don't forget, follow moi on Twitter, Instagram, FB, Insta Stories, LinkedIn, Snapchat at Rhina Valentin. So the 100 Hispanic Women National Inc. is holding its 16th annual Mind, Body, and Spirit Conference, an all-day wellness event filled with panels, workshops, and self-care activities to help replenish the mind, body, and spirit. And joining us to tell us more about the conference, please welcome 100 Hispanic Women National Inc. President Nancy Genova and co-authors of the book Silent Agreements, Dr. Linda Anderson and Dr. Michele Owens. Hello and welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you
for
for
having us.
Of course, it's that time of the year again. And so I'd like to open up with just sharing with our audience what the Mind, Body, Spirit and Conference consists of, even though I gave them a general sense. And also why you chose to move it to October.
Okay. So the Mind, Body, Spirit Conference is a wellness conference where our members, it's responsive to our members' needs because they were into wellness conferences, but there were no representation when they attended of Latina women. And so they wanted women that looked like them, that could speak to them about their personal issues. And so the conference has guided meditations. We open with an intention for the day. We have yoga, meditation, makeovers, excellent speakers that are going to be talking about specific women's issues throughout the day. The conference is always very well attended, and it's a premier event for our members.
And let's not forget the massages.
Oh, and the massage
That was my
therapy.
favorite part.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, massages.
And so every year there's different panelists, and I just want to share with you guys, I have the distinct honor of moderating the panelists, and today we have two of the three authors of Silent Agreements. And so can you share a little bit about your interest in this year's Mind, Body, and Spirit?
Well, we will be offering workshops. We will be on the panel discussing silent agreements, which are our unspoken expectations that we carry and however that we hold others responsible for without ever talking about it.
So you're Linda?
I am.
I just want to make sure, and then that would make you Michele.
That's
right?
me.
Or should I just say Doctor, just in case I don't mess it up? Okay, so Michele.
Yeah, I think one of the things that is really important to us in imparting our knowledge and whatever wisdom we have about this is that we really want women to begin to think about the assumptions and the expectations that they carry in their lives and that others have of them, and that sometimes get in the way of their living their healthiest life and their best life, because they come with all of these various expectations from family, from work, from spouses, from children, and sometimes it can be really overwhelming when you try to fulfill expectations that you haven't even thought about whether or not they work for you.
And so, based on this month being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, what you're referencing may not reference that specifically, but it is a form of domestication based on your upbringing that we're discussing right now, right? So just learning, going back to why Mind, Body, and Spirit was transferred to October when initially the conference was in May.
Right.
Does that play a role in it?
It does play a role, so we wanted to capture both things. Hispanic Heritage Month, which ends on October 5th, but we also,
15th.
is the, October 15th, but we also wanted to bring awareness to domestic violence because it's something that many of our members have talked about, and this is just statistics for the entire nation. 1 in 4 women are victims and survivors of domestic violence. So that's important to know, and so those are themes that we touch on at this conference. This is why also will be the first collaboration between the coalition of 100 Black women with us, the 100 Hispanic women, especially because women are a target in this current administration, right? Where they want to eliminate reproductive rights, your elimination of affirmative action. So all of these things are themes that we are going to cross-reference at the conference.
And so, Dr. Anderson, see, I'm going to switch it up.
Okay. And I'm also a professor at Hostos,
Oh, that's
too.
right. That's right. You mentioned that.
Yes.
So thank you for your contributions to the Bronx as well.
Yes.
Yes. Just tapping a little bit more into silent agreements, I listened a little bit to the introduction to it, and I started listening to the audible version of it. And what I found very interesting about it's very deep, and obviously it took 3 psychologists to put this book together because it's a lot of processing, a lot of layers.
That's right.
And a lot to make sense of what you're sharing. And so if you would just share, I guess, a little bit more about what I'm referencing, because you're the experts.
Well, embedded underneath this book is and has been a labor of love and high consciousness around our need. How do we improve our relationships? And when we say that, we don't just mean intimate relationships only. We're talking about our relationship with our health, relationship with family, relationships that have to do with, that involve commitment issues, issues around sex and sexuality, and the workplace, which is probably where we will be focusing somewhat with our health workers at this conference. So our labor of love is really about identifying our own individual silent agreements that we all bring. They're everywhere. They're scattered and cast around every context that we walk in. But we just want, it is so better to be empowered by being aware of what those silent agreements are in the room so that we can make better choices, so that we can be freer in choosing who we want to be in these contexts across work, play, love, all of it.
Right, which loans itself to happiness, right? Because Dr. Owens, right? Just to elaborate a little further, I understand that one of the motivations behind this is for people to kind of just come to terms with taking responsibility for what they're creating in their space.
Yeah, absolutely. Take responsibility, but also what we know about silent agreements is that they're often unconscious, that we walk with them and we don't realize they're there. One of the things we know about the conference is that many of these women are in the healthcare providing field, and there's a lot of giving and taking care of that goes on. And very often people in these fields, our field as well, come to it with some unspoken expectations and assumptions that we are givers, and that sometimes the giving becomes more important than taking care of ourselves.
So let's give an example of what that unspoken silence is.
Yeah, the unspoken silence may be absolutely that taking care of others is more important than taking care of myself. We wouldn't tell ourselves that out loud. We wouldn't think it consciously, but our behavior may manifest that. So on the job, it could be anything as big as not asking for a raise, because taking care of other people is more important than taking care of myself. Or it could be something as monumental as, not only do I have to take care of everybody at work, I have to take care of everybody at home. And it doesn't matter if I'm tired, and it doesn't matter if my doctor told me to take this test 3 months ago. I don't have the time, because taking care of others is more important than taking care of ourselves. And unless we're in touch with that as a silent agreement that we have with ourselves, we can really run ourselves into the ground. And we're hoping that through our workshops and our panel discussion that we can help people begin to discover what silent agreements are you carrying that are working against your best interests and your best health.
Beautiful. And that's just a taste of what the conference is about, because obviously we have a lot more to talk about, but we don't have the time. So before we go, do you want to share some of the other panelists and the books that you're carrying?
So we're going to have panelist Nancy Arroyo-Ruffin, who wrote a book, Live on Purpose, and she will also be facilitating a workshop along with Lisa Brooks-Grouse, Don't Abdicate Your Throne, the author of Do Not Abdicate Your Throne. So there'll be workshops and panel discussions from all these authors, and there'll be so much more.
So my last question is does somebody need to be a 100 Hispanic Women member in order to attend the conference?
They don't have to be a 100 Hispanic Women member. It's free to our members, and it's free to Bronx Care employees. But to all others, there's a nominal fee of $50, and they could just express their interest by emailing us at 100HispanicWomen@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
I would
you
love
so
to reach
much.
out. I'm looking forward to reading the
Thank
book
you so
further.
much.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson,
Thank you.
Dr. Owens.
Thanks
I'm
for
looking
having
forward
us.
to seeing you next Wednesday. And you guys, once again, the 16th Annual Mind, Body, and Spirit Conference will take place on Wednesday, October 9th, and that's happening from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Glen Island Harbor, located in New Rochelle. For tickets, you can send an email to 100HispanicWomen@gmail.com. Once again, that's 100HispanicWomen@gmail.com. The Bronx Museum of the Arts held its grand opening for Henry